Welcome to Mental Health Monday. This is the first Mental Health Monday of 2026. So, welcome. We are so happy to see all of you here this evening. Good to see you, Dr. White. I was just telling you when we went on, I haven't seen you since last year.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes.
hear you. It
Yeah, I
has
hope you're having a great new year, and we made it just in time because I was
just in
projecting
time
February.
before, yeah, just in time. January's almost over. I was making appointments with clients for next week, and I'm like, huh, it's already going to be February. We already are in the second month of 2026. Time
It's
really does
just, oh my
fly by
goodness, it
so
really is.
fast.
So it really reminds you to be intentional about your time. I gather
Yes.
you've been enjoying some time with the grandbabies.
Yes, we had our third grandchild, second grandson. So that was exciting. It's just, I remember when our first granddaughter was born, and it was like, oh, wow, we're grandparents. But we're grandparents of like one. And for let's see, no, not for four. For 3 years, it was just one. And then there was two. And it's like, oh, okay, we're becoming like even more grandparents. You know what I mean? Becoming more of grandparents, I should say. And
Uh,
then with the third, it's like, wow, we're super duper grandparents.
We're all in now. That's
We're
funny.
all the way at, and that's just with one child having
Yeah.
children. So imagine when the others start. It's going to be a lot. I was even doing Christmas this year. I'm like buying gifts, and I'm like, okay, this is getting deeper and deeper. Wait till everybody's they're going to have to start just getting one gift each.
One good deed.
Not two.
We've
It's starting to be
suspended the whole, we're just like, look, man, let's make it about food and having a good time.
that
And
too. Or I've been trying to convince them, like, let's just go on a destination, no gifts. Let's just put the money into like going somewhere. It's better.
absolutely,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
think that's fun. But yes, guys, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Please let us know where you're viewing from. Clint, I saw even before we went on, you were the first one. And Clint, I've been seeing you all over the place. Like 2 weeks ago when we did our 10 horns, you were there. You were active in that chat. I see you, of course, on the church service. I see you all over the place. That's great. And
Absolutely.
I was in your state, Clint. I was in Texas. That's where our grandchildren live. So know all about Texas. Hope everyone is
Longhorn,
staying
Texas.
warm as well. This is like, I mean, I don't know what it's like in California. I haven't even looked at the weather. Matter of fact, I talked to Amber earlier, and they were at the beach yesterday. So I'm
Wow.
assuming you guys are chilling. It's
There's a
not
crisp chill in the air, like so. But like when
okay.
I walk outside and I'm like, this is what's considered winter, and it's
Yeah.
like 68 degrees.
Don't stop it. You're
Uh,
in my state, and it's don't stop. You're
Oh my
tempting
goodness.
me to be
Nothing.
jealous.
We've got nothing to complain about. Nothing.
You have nothing to complain about. It's freezing here in Tennessee. Nashville's only 2 hours away, and they're having it feels like zero, like I don't know, 1, 2 degrees, something like
Wow.
that. And we're not that bad, but we're cold. We're pretty cold.
Yeah.
Well, we have people from all over. We have people in Florida. I'm
Oh,
sure
nice.
they're not feeling the cold either.
Nice.
Welcome from Marco in
Absolutely.
Florida. We have, well, brother Tennessee. Tell us how cold it is in Tennessee.
We got
Good to see you here.
Sylvia from
Sylvia
Jamaica.
from Jamaica. I'm sure you're warm there, but welcome to Mental Health Monday. Let us know if this is the first time, guys. We want to know if we have any first timers
Yeah.
today.
And
Also, Oregon.
yeah, Oregon.
Well,
It's
good to
very
see.
cold.
Yes, very good to see all of you here. I'm excited about this evening, whenever you're watching the topic, because I don't think we've ever just focused on men and their mental health. We have not done that, and this is
Mhm.
starting our fourth year of doing Mental Health
Yeah.
Monday. Can you believe that?
That's wild. It just
That
shows
is
you how
wild.
much time is flying. Um,
Yes. Yes, Courtney, Georgia, I'm sure is freezing because Alabama's freezing and Tennessee's freezing. So we're all freezing in the South here. I haven't stepped outside, to be honest. I haven't stepped outside since Friday.
well,
To be honest,
you're probably so
I've been in
comfortable.
the house because it's just been cold, and yeah. It's
And
just
you're also
cold.
probably doing online therapy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all my
yeah.
clients are online right now. Even if they were in person, I was like, "You're online this week or for right now. It's cold until it warms
Mm,
up."
mm.
Yeah, it's just been so cold, but it will be warming up. Well, I don't know. This week's going to stay pretty cold for us as I look at the forecast, but I think by the end of the week, it's going to start warming up. So that's
Absolutely.
good. Good to see all of you. Got Trinidad and Tobago and Georgia. And I said Georgia, but another Georgia, another part. So that's great. Very good to see everyone. Like, again, we're excited about the topic. Um, I'm excited about the topic, going to take a deep dive into that this evening. I had mentioned to you, Dr. White, about a lot of the things that are happening. Those we know we have an international audience, so those who are not in the US, you are probably not as impacted, even though when I travel around the world, a lot of people say whatever the US is going through, it affects the rest of the world just because of how things work, meaning uh, they either see what we're going through and get like kind of stressed out if we're going through something because it affects them. I had a friend from Australia say if um, if America sneezes, Australia catches a cold. And he was really talking about the economy and stuff like that. But I think it's a good analogy. Like the world does watch what we do. They do.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of stress going on right now.
A lot of stress. And we just wanted to, this is not what the whole program is about. It's definitely for about men and their and men's mental health today. But there is a lot of stress. There, we would be not being as empathetic as we could be to think that um we don't have people that watch us and that are affected by immigration. We have friends or families that may not be here legally, and there's a lot of stress over that, especially what we see on the news and what how things are happening in regards to ICE and what's happening in Minnesota right now. And even if even as American citizens, we're stressed because two people who have passed who when their life was taken were US citizens.
Yeah.
And so that's stressful.
No,
That's
no
stressful.
question. No question. I obviously the woman that was unalived, I think they like to say in this
Yes.
um internet s- context.
Right.
That was a more well publicized, situation. I guess there's a more recent incident that occurred. I don't watch the
Mhm.
news, so it
Smart so that you're not
yeah,
stressed going into your clients.
yeah.
Honestly.
Like, but it's just such a focus on really just hair-raising things, and in this big world, I know there are heartwarming stories, and I don't hear that celebrated. The
Right.
people overcoming odds and doing amazing things with their life, it's almost like that's just completely disregarded, and instead it's there's a cop chasing a car, and there's I mean, like they'll literally
Right.
stop programming to feature that,
Oh
and I'm thinking
yeah.
to myself, you're gonna encourage other people to,
Mhm.
to want their 15 minutes of fame rather than
Mhm.
let's not feature those kind of things. Let's feature the stuff we want to see more of.
Yes, because there are good things that happen around this world, but you're right. That's not sensational,
Newsworthy.
and people don't really want to. They don't hone in on that. I know my mom lives with us now, and so sometimes if I feel like the news has been on a lot that day, and because I don't want her to get too anxious, and the news has been just very negative about things, I'm like, okay, that's enough. I switched to some family program. Like, we're not watching any more of that. And it's good because as the news keeps going and going and going, she does get a little bit more
Worked up.
uh, just anxious just from watching it. But we know that that many people are some of the things that we take for granted and don't worry about every day. People who either are here illegally or have family or friends are here illegally and are good people working hard, just almost want to say minding their own business and just not causing issues for the community, they live on eggshells, and this situation is not helping. So, just guess we want to just say that we do care and we're empathetic to everything that is happening around the country right now, because it is very it's actually very scary, because like I said, the two that were unalived were American citizens and they weren't breaking any laws. So it's kind of scary. It's
100%.
kind of scary.
Very, very
And that's
scary
from a
times.
mental health person.
Yeah.
But we are here this evening to talk about men's mental health. And I think the segue to that just kind of flows because I don't know, you've been a mental health professional longer than I have. But in the time that I have been in a mental health provider, I have, seen, like, I think really before I became a therapist, I did not really understand the stress that men can feel, the responsibility that even society just like, it's just like, you're a man, you're born with this amount of responsibility just because you're a man. Um, and and it wasn't until I became a therapist that I realized this is a lot to carry.
Hmm.
On top of the fact that we also then tell you, don't show any emotions, don't cry, don't be a baby, don't act like it's hard. You put those two things together and it's like, mercy. I mean, you can speak, you're a man, so you can speak of it to it a little bit better than I can. But I really started to have empathy for the first time in my adult life for men and just what you guys face, just living in society. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dr. White.
Well, it's interesting because we were studying David um, in a Sabbath school class, and one of the things that I came to realize is how when you're a leader, people want you to make the big important decisions, which requires you to distance yourself from your humanity while at the same time being humane.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I find it really relevant with being a man where you're called upon to be a gentleman even when you're
Mm.
working on some really like challenging situations that are calling the bruteness out of you.
Right.
But there's a gentleness that you're always expected to not completely let go of.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this kind of push pull that you sit in the middle of.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be stressful, and there can be very few settings where you get to articulate your experience
Yes.
and the struggles of it. There can be very, very few settings where you're heard, you're validated, and what you shared is not weaponized against you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we want to look, and let me tell you guys that also you are a part of this conversation. If you have questions or comments, I think we have one, at least a comment. Please put them in the chat. We want you to be a part of our discussion um, this evening for sure. So let's look at some of the things that men go through with their mental health. Again, this may be something, especially for women. This is why I'm hoping in the advertisement we said this program is for everyone, because I think it's important for us as women to learn and understand and to just appreciate what in a way what we can have empathy for men and have understanding, appreciate in that way, especially even and also raising young men and just to prepare them for what society can bring to them, and the standards that society holds them to, that they don't have to hold to that standard. Because I have had so many men cry on my couch. I do telehealth too, or on the screen, that have never felt comfortable enough to just really release in that way. And when they do and they feel heard, they feel so much better.
Yeah, 100%. So the first thing that we were wanting to talk about this evening is exactly this push pull, this
Hmm.
the fact that men are called to be strong and stoic,
Right.
but in order to really achieve that, it requires you to kind of stuff your emotions down.
Hmm.
Well, when you condition yourself to stuff your emotions down, of course, you might not even be aware of what it is that you're experiencing. And Psychology 101
Mm.
identifies the fact that when you're trying to heal, an important part of is naming what you're going through. And
Right.
if you're conditioned to stuffing it down, you can't even name it. And if you can't
Hmm.
even name it, then sometimes you can't even
Hmm.
heal. And this is why you find men kind of shying away from
Hmm.
seeking mental health, uh,
Hmm.
moving away from language like "I need help." Like
Right.
that's just seen as a
As weak.
failure, like and
Yes.
weak. And part of the call is you've got to be perceived as strong.
Hmm.
And so, of course, we have these warped ideas of what is strength and what is weakness, but you can see why society doesn't really set us up to
Hmm.
obtain mental health care. And for
Hmm.
the men that do, it it has for a long time kind of made them feel like they're weak in doing that.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
fortunately, that's changing,
Yes.
but that's been the past experience that I've observed as it relates to men embracing mental health.
Yes. Well, there's a great question here that Marco is asking. It says, I try to give my emotions to God, but I still feel pain. Do you have advice for me?
Man, wouldn't it be cool if they could if they could come on live
Yes. We're
and because then he could unpack that. Like,
I know.
what does that
We're gonna
mean?
figure that out because I feel
That
like
would be
we're gonna figure
so
that
hot.
out.
That'd be so hot. Where like they can like Amara could even have them waiting in the background. But yeah, um,
Yes.
yeah, and then we just bring them up. Like Amara just be like,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's like, what does that mean? I give my pain to God, you know?
Mhm.
What is that? Like a prayer session? But it'd be really cool for Marco to crystallize what that exercise looks like in terms of how he gives his pain to God. Because you and I both know we talk about pain as if it's like a little like it's this glass, you know? Like, okay,
Mhm.
like this glass, hey, get that behind you, or
Right.
deal with your pain, or move on from it, or give it away. And
Mhm.
you and I know from that book, The Body Keeps the Score,
Right.
it's so integrated.
Mhm.
It's so integrated. How do you externalize it?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, yeah, I would love to hear what is your process for saying you're handing it off to God, because that sounds pretty challenging.
Mhm.
Um, Now, what do I think he's saying? I think he's saying like he prays about it
Right.
and he tries to deal with it with God.
Mhm.
Let me see. What does he say? It's been hard for me to deal with my emotions as part of the family ignores me, and it makes it worse that I don't really have friends. I did them wrong, but I feel like they did wrong too. So it's kind of
Mm.
like this natural backwards and forward that you would expect. Yes, like in prayer and thinking and praying Bible verses, especially Psalms.
Mhm.
You know what's interesting about the Psalms? Like when you read the Psalms, you're getting an intimate portrait of that person's experience.
Right.
And it can be powerful because you're seeing David raw. Like
Mhm.
you're seeing unedited. Like and I think he's modeling what we're supposed to do. And so I
Right.
think the key is to not stop at just letting it be modeled, but then you have your own prayer.
Mhm.
Um there's this line in Psalms where David says, I want to bathe my feet in the blood of mine enemies.
Mm,
So much for the 23rd Psalm, so much for
right.
Psalm 91. Like, that is not a gentle sounding idea, but I tell you what it is, it's unedited.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is unedited speech. And sometimes that can be so therapeutic to have a setting where you don't have to edit. You don't have to make it sound neat. You don't have to be politically correct.
Right.
This is an unedited, intimate communication. And that can be so cathartic. It can be so
Mm-hmm.
healing.
Mm-hmm.
Marco
He's
said,
saying, he says, I don't, he said, but I do repeat the painful thoughts in my head. So maybe I'm not really giving it all to God. And I want to just go on with what you're saying, Dr. White, that, you know, Marco, you give it to God and then it's like you give it to God, but then your human nature you can pick it back up and with you. And you're so wired, meaning you've been living with this pain or for I don't know how long, but usually for a while. And so you're used to those negative, painful thoughts and letting those thoughts just go automatically. And so when you give it to God, that is good. And then when you have to make a daily decision or a moment by moment decision to begin the process to start rewiring your mind. Not going from automatic thoughts to start um, challenging those thoughts and reframing those thoughts so that your feelings can be different. Because about this, I don't know your personal situation completely. I just know there's hurt and there's pain and there's stress from just being a male in this society. So the thoughts that you have, that your automatic thoughts that you have in your mind will definitely affect the way that you feel. Even though you went to God in prayer, there's still a moment by moment decision that you have to make, and that's a process.
100%. Like, and I think, but that's exactly it. Like, what is your process?
Mm-hmm.
What is going to be your process, your system for how you're going to really and truly heal?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I think that's and that's where sometimes a professional support can come in, and it's not like, because it's
Right.
like Marco's like, but at the end of the day, am I really giving it? And that's why that's where I began with, what are you giving, and how would you be giving it, more so than just labeling it and kind of having that conversation with God. But that's where you can see the power of professional support actually helping you identify a process that truly heals.
Yes, absolutely. And I would say even I like where you're going, and I like Marco. I love your questioning and what you're revealing here because I think it's so important um, for Christian men, or Christians in general, like to know that what you're doing is the right thing. You giving it over to God, and you getting some mental health counseling or assistance with that is not bad, and it doesn't mean that you're lacking faith. Because I've had Christians ask if I'm praying, but I and still feel like I need to go to therapy or go to therapy, am I lacking faith in God? And no, you're not.
Not at all. And I mean, you see so many of the examples in scripture where
Mm-hmm.
people have crises of faith, where people are asking those very questions. Marco also raised another very important issue that a lot of men are dealing with, and that is the feeling of isolation.
Mm.
Like, when we look at our women counterpart, oh my goodness, they kill it in this area. Like, my wife, she's got her friends and they got their networks, and okay, we're going to celebrate this and going to celebrate that. And they're on
Right.
these group chats, and they do run circles around us as men as far as like associating and getting together on some regular basis. And
Mm-hmm.
even just sheer achievement, like the road of
Mm-hmm.
leadership, the road of entrepreneurship, it's a lonely road. It can be,
Yes.
it's like, even if you wanted to associate with your friends, the there is a demand. When you're really setting out to be excellent, there's a pulling away that is required.
Mhm.
That's lonely. You
Mhm.
have to sacrifice going to this social event and that social event, and then there's the mere fatigue, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but the consequence is sometimes a very undesired isolation,
Mhm. Mhm.
which magnifies the difficulty of the healing that can so often occur in community.
Right. Absolutely. Just to remind you guys, we're taking your questions and comments for this evening. We're just talking about men and their mental health. And really, it's we have found as mental health professionals and just really living life that it is difficult for men just because the way society sets things up and the pressure um, that is on men. I want to say this, I kind of started this line of thinking that this comment that I'm going to make. It really started again when I became a therapist, but just the pressure of knowing. I made my daughter laugh today when I told her this. And I don't know if this has happened to you, Dr. White, but I'm going to tell it. I don't care. I'm just going to tell it anyway. It's happened to me to where there's been situations that people bring into my office, and it's so challenging and difficult that my first thought, this is my first human thought. Everyone don't laugh because but I know I'm probably going to make you laugh because I made my daughter laugh today. That my first human thought is like, wow, you really need to go to therapy for that. Isn't it? And they're in therapy. I'm the therapist, but the situation is so like, that's my first. And then I'm like, oh yeah, what am I saying? And then then I start to, do some work. But my first initial thought is that, why am I saying that? Because I feel like for men, it's like, it's like when there's hard times, there's not enough money in the family, or there's things going on and just whatever, and the man is supposed to take care of it. I can imagine how lonely that can feel for some men in certain situations, because you are the therapist. You're the one that's supposed to be able to fix it or help or whatever, and you're feeling like emotionally overwhelmed. I just compare it to that. Like, even though I know for myself, I'm a mental health professional, and I know that I am trained to be able to help in so many different situations, but sometimes the situation seems so overwhelming that I'm just like, you need to get help. Oh, that's what they're here for. So I feel like men may go through that at times where, do they feel like they have somebody else, because it's almost like the buck stops here. You are that person. And that can
Well,
be very challenging and stressful. Even though there's God, that you can depend upon God. Hopefully you're in a healthy relationship with, with a spouse, with your wife, that they're here to support you. I'm hoping that you have all of those things. You always have God, but maybe you don't have a relationship with God in that way. So you're not automatically calling upon him. And maybe you don't have that relationship with a
yeah.
wife that supports you. Maybe you're always feeling torn down. That's the other thing. So I'm glad women are here. I'm seeing a lot of men, but I hope women are here. We can not help sometimes in that, when we're always snipping and pulling. They have a lot. I know we go through a lot as women. Trust me, I'm team women all the time. I understand what we go through, but they go through a lot too.
Oh,
Men go through
powerful.
a lot too. And we can
Powerful.
either help or make that worse.
Mercy. Mercy. Please don't make it worse. Let's
It's
see.
better for me to say it than you, Dr. White.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I kind of stayed clear. I
Yeah,
went
yeah,
to
yeah.
Clint. Clint's got a statement. So we need to identify the problem and the processes of conflict resolution. Yeah. I think I probably asked you this before, because now he's talking about conflict resolution. How many physical fights have you been in your life?
Me?
Yeah, physical fights.
Zero. Zero.
That's to show
I
you how
like
peaceful Atonte is.
I can no, I can I my mouth is like, I can like say a whole bunch of stuff, but I was never gonna get in a physical fight. That's why I always tell my
Right,
husband, because he's been in so many, and I'm
right.
like, you weren't scared? Like, what? No, he's like, you don't have time to be scared. I'm like, You just gonna like punch somebody in their face? Like what? I mean, this is before he found God, but I'm just
Right,
saying,
right,
like,
right,
I
right,
couldn't.
right, right.
Anyways, I couldn't do that. But go ahead.
Well, but it's interesting because you know what the average is? Like, and obviously there's outliers like Pastor Myers, but he's an outlier.
He's a
Um,
yeah. He's
the
a
average number is like 2 to 3. That's the
mm,
average number, 2 to 3. So over the course
yeah.
of your life, again, like don't think about these folk who like frequent bars and they're always in fights. No, I'm talking about just the average. You're typically going to have 2 to 3 fights over the course of a lifetime. Now, in contrast to that, and think about how much preparation people engage in to prepare for that fight that's never going to take place, right? All these gyms and UFC gyms and karate this and taekwondo this and dojo
Mm-hmm.
this and and your husband is trained, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
In contrast to that, how
Mm-hmm.
many verbal fights have you been
Oh, now that mm,
in? Oh,
a lot.
okay. So you know what the average is? So the average is that you'll get into about 2,500 verbal fights over the course of a 70-year lifespan.
Yeah, I
2,500.
calculated those up pretty quick before I knew Jesus for sure.
You rack those up, and maybe you're like going back to the norm now. But
So I was always
what's
so quick with the tongue. But anyway, God is good.
he's good. Well, but we put so little effort into sharpening our communication skills because Clint was talking about the importance of conflict resolution. And what I'm championing is these are some of the skills you will gain from therapy, good therapy
Mm-hmm.
anyway. Because I'm sure the Sister Atonte always talks about, for example, a slow startup. What is it?
A slow startup,
A
a
slow
soft
startup.
startup. Sorry,
A
a soft
soft
startup. Yes,
a soft startup.
a soft startup.
Yeah, like always like how do you do a soft startup? But these are tools. Like
Mm-hmm.
these are tools that
Absolutely.
when you master them, they make life easier. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so your thing about conflict resolution, yeah, we got to identify the problem and
Mm-hmm.
the process of conflict resolution and sharpen our skills in the area of conflict resolution.
Yes.
Brother
Yes.
Tennessee.
We got a great question. It says, "What does a healed man look like
Oh,
mentally?
Brother
Is it day
Tennessee.
to day? Is there a finish line?" Great
Man,
question.
if there was merch, man, you would have just won a t-shirt. Oh man, that's such a good question. What
Such
does
a
a
good question.
healed man look like? Well, Brother Tennessee, I think that was the whole point. That was the whole point of scripture. That was a whole like I promise you I'm not trying to over spiritualize it, but like I think the whole point of the New Testament, the Old Testament, but like that build up to Christ was I'm going to show you a picture of a healed man. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to show you the person that can still the waves, that can deal with the demoniac, but children are attracted to be around. This is the
Mm,
person who created the Leviathan, but he's still gentle enough to where children want to gather around him.
mm,
And I think sometimes that's the struggle, Brother Tennessee. Like, um, we can be dominant, but everybody's afraid of us. Or other times, you can get to the other extreme now where you're so gentle, you don't inspire anybody with a sense of comfort and a sense that no, that person would defend me if necessary.
mm.
And so that's where you have to blend the two. You can't people can be terrified of you, but they also still need to fear you and respect you at the same time. There's this balance.
Right.
Brother Tennessee, a healed man is an integrated man.
Mm-hmm.
A healed man understands balance, and here's the key: and can deliver the appropriate picture of masculinity
Mm-hmm.
depending on the setting.
Yes.
And you can
And I,
see why you need God to guide that. Like they
mhm.
deliver just the right amount of masculinity to the given setting. What were you gonna say, sis?
I was just gonna say a healed man also is not afraid to show his emotions if he's hurting, or if he needs to cry. A healed man is okay with crying and knowing that that does not equal weakness. It actually can equal strength. Just because you're able to show emotion and you're not ashamed of it.
Now, feel free to balance that
Okay.
because you and I both know women don't like a man who cries too much.
Well, balance it. Not right. Right. I
Right?
agree. I agree. But to be honest, I mean that might be my own personal
No, 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 no,
preference,
no, 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 no. This
maybe.
is all women.
Well,
Like
Ricardo, I don't know all women.
I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, but I just as a brother out there, let me spare you, like, because like I'm sorry, it is an ugly truth, but it is a truth. You can lose points for crying too much. With
Yes, I
your
mean,
you can.
listen,
Um,
if depending on the circumstance, I mean,
of
honestly,
course.
but if it is really healthy, like I just don't think we should perpetuate that not healthy narrative that's so heavy already in society where men just don't like if you want to cry, cry. Why? Because God gave you the tears. Now, I mean, nobody wants a too weepy of a woman or too weepy of a man. I mean, like where you're crying all the time, every single thing makes you cry. Well, no,
That's
that's
true.
unhealthy.
That's true.
So we know healthy crying and not healthy crying. I think our natural instincts, we kind of understand and pick that up.
Okay.
Does that make
Oh, okay.
sense?
Well, and let me tell you what I'm balancing it with. Like,
Okay.
guys, ladies, cry all that you need. All I'm saying is my trick is I cry in private, you know? So when I need to emit some tears or whatever, the shower is a great place, you know?
To
And
add to the water.
I tend to reserve my tears for the shower and the pillow. I like privacy, you know.
Okay.
So so
And
so
and as
so
I'm not your mental health professional, but I think I think that I mean that is your personality type, which is fine. If that's fine. But I think if we put that like on everybody, then that probably wouldn't be healthy. Like I
no, of
think
course, of course. I mean,
yeah.
like, yeah, but believe it or not, I'm trying to do like that thing where you make therapy safe, where it's like I will prepare you for the real world. And that is as much as in therapy, I would love to tell you cry to your heart's content. I
Right.
just understand you can lose points for that. And
I think
and
if you're
so
crying and the tear, and I don't know, we're sticking on this crying thing just for a minute, but I think if you're crying and it's isolated and you're always just crying, that's where I think a woman would be annoyed or whatever. But if you are showing maturity and working hard, trying to make all of these things work, when you're just like, you know what, I'm at that point where I just need to let some tears out. And I feel like it's a lot of stress if you feel like I gotta wait till I get in the shower or I gotta wait till I see my pillow. But you know what I'm saying? Like
no,
I
if
just need to
I'm at
let
a
my tears out
funeral,
right now. It's
right, if
like,
I'm at a funeral, it comes out, it comes out. I'm at a funeral. What do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? So
guys, we need a therapist for Dr. White and I. Of course, at a funeral you're gonna cry, but I'm just talking about in life in general. You know why I'm so kind of passionate about this, Dr.
why is
White?
that?
Because men just if they just feel like if they feel guarded and I just have to watch this and I can't let this emotion out. They already have a hard time letting the emotions out. So I just don't want to put any limitations on them. I think if they are again being good, not just crying, but being good men and working hard and trying to provide and do all these other things, putting like the majority of the men here are Christians, putting God first in their life, and their women see all of this and it's like it's almost um it's a good look for that man to the woman to see that you're doing all of these things and you can shed some tears or share your emotions and you're not too um prideful, not just prideful, but not too afraid to show it. Cause a lot of times it's
Right.
not prideful. It's just like you're like afraid to show you're gonna think you're looking weak. If they feel comfortable and strong enough to do that because they're so manly in so many other areas, I think it's okay to cry whenever you need to cry.
So, just so you guys don't think I'm the brute that Sister Tante is making me out to be, right? Talking about I need a therapist.
No,
No,
I said
no, no,
we
no.
need the therapist for
Right.
us today. No,
No,
I
no,
he's
but
not a brute at all. You're great, Dr. White.
no, thank you, thank you.
We're
But
human. We have different opinions. Okay.
well, what I'm trying to protect against is here's what I'm trying to protect against this. So here we are inviting these men to open up their hearts and to be vulnerable. And sis, I cannot put into words the pain of when you make yourself vulnerable and it's
Hmm.
weaponized against you.
Right. I
Like
can.
that's
Yes.
devastating. That is
I've seen that
devastating.
happen many times with in
And so
relationships.
so
Hmm.
that's what I'm balancing where it's like if I'm challenging you to be vulnerable, I do have to add that word of caution that I cannot assume you are in a setting where your vulnerability will be honored. And
Right.
I'm saying there are settings that will misunderstand it and may even weaponize it. But to a Sister Atante's point, you've
Hmm.
got to find settings to let it out productively.
Right.
You've
And
gotta find
we're
those
we're
settings.
kind of focusing on this crying part, but really also a big huge thing is for men to feel safe to be able to just communicate, period. Like just to talk. Like what's on your heart. You don't even have to cry. Just to let somebody in to see what you're really feeling because men just shut down. I mean, women, we can shut down too, but I just think that wall for men goes up so quick. It's like I mean, our walls go up, but we're more of uh we don't want to talk it out in a healthy way. We want to
Duke it out. Well,
duke
and
we're going to
what
verbally duke it out, and men just shut down. They'll be like, "Okay." Like they're not trying to meet our energy in the same way. They're meeting our energy, but in a passive aggressive, walls gone up. I've totally tuned you out. I think Gottman would say stonewalling.
right. Well, like I think the scary part of it is when you don't even know your man's checked out. Like
Right.
you don't even know they've checked out, but they have deemed you unsafe. And they don't even have
Right.
language for this. They don't have
Right.
language for this. But the bottom
Mhm.
line is, sis, if they could articulate it, they would let you know, I feel like you're unsafe. But
Mhm.
when have you ever heard a man talk like that? I feel like you're unsafe.
Right.
Like
They wouldn't
you
use
you don't
it's
respect
very
me,
rare that they're going to say that, but their reaction is telling you that by
which
them shutting down.
which you might not even perceive. They might play
Yeah.
along and make you think everything's okay, and suddenly there's a collapse somewhere else.
Right.
So that's why this conversation I think is just so important.
Mhm.
One of the other things is all of this stuff that we're talking about with the stigma and the difficulty communicating, it
Mhm.
has profound epidemiological and statistical outcomes, meaning
Right.
men are more likely to die by suicide compared to women.
Yes.
So now women attempt
Now
more, but men are more likely to actually die. So what we're talking about has real consequences.
it really does. It really really does. And so thank you for bringing that out because like you said, women, we let it out. They'll be like, what? We're chatty, right? I mean, we're quick to just, even if we don't do it in a healthy way, we're still letting it out. Men will keep it in and keep it in. And when they attempt to unalive themselves, they want to make sure that they get the job done, unfortunately. And so they'll use, um, as you know, a lot of times it's a gun or something like that, because they don't taking the pills and the stuff that may not work. You know, that's how a lot of men think, and so definitely men are statistically there's a higher rate of men that actually women attempt, but men
Or
get it done, and so That's why we have to check in on the men that we love in this world. And I'm not just talking about your spouse, I'm talking about your son, your brother, your father. I mean, you have to check in because men are not telling you everything that they're feeling. You really don't know. And they're good at covering it up
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Powerful. That's
Because
powerful.
a lot of times we're just so shocked, like, he did what? Um, we did a show on it. We did not a show. It's not a show, but we did an episode, I should say, on it. I'm forgetting his name. He was the dancer for
The
Ellen.
dancer?
Well, I'm sorry,
Oh, the dancer.
for Ellen when Ellen
I
DeGeneres had
remember
a
that. I remember that.
program.
I
He
can't
was
remember
very
his
well
name.
known. Him and his wife did a lot of social media dances together and stuff like that. And I'm forgetting his name, but people were shocked. Yes, Stitch. Thank you, Amara Stitch. People were shocked when that
Um,
happened, but his wife knew a little bit of what he was going through. And I say a little bit, she didn't know the depths of how deep it was. I think she's written a book now, but that is not an isolated story for sure.
but it brings it all full circle because we can put on such a phenomenal game face.
Yes.
We are so conditioned to keep you out.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the things I love about driving is I can use my real face. Like I don't have to use a face that would make someone say, "Hey, what's wrong?" You know? I can just wear whatever face I want, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So what if the person
Mm-hmm.
across is thinking, "Oh, that guy looks angry." I can just be who I want to be
Right.
and not have my experience be intruded upon.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we are so good at putting on, this face, and it can have dire consequences.
Yes.
So, if you're a man or if you are a woman who loves a man,
Mm-hmm.
this episode is for you, and this episode is encouragement that we want you to know that one of the most powerful signs of strength is getting the help you need.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I know we're not quite at the end. We're almost to the end. So put your questions in and your comments. But I'm already really because we see a lot of men. I asked the men's group to announce that we're doing this topic, and I feel like a lot of them are here, and I feel like we could definitely
Do a
do a
part
part
two.
two next week as well
No question. No question.
because I don't want to just, this is just something that we just don't talk about
Right
enough.
enough. Clint said, "Can work or exercise be a healthy outlet for those emotional struggles?" So, Clint, what you want to take it, sis?
Well, I'll just say this, definitely exercise is a healthy outlet. I'll let you take work. Go ahead. I don't think
Yeah,
work is
no,
as
sure.
healthy of an outlet, but go ahead.
Well, there's a thing. Anytime I say the word stress, or when you usually hear the word stress, we think about it in a negative context.
Right.
So, but really, what we're associating with the stress is distress.
Yes.
There's another form of stress called eustress. Eustress
Mm-hmm.
is good stress. So, like, take work, for example. When I have all the resources I need to do my job in excellence, that's eustress. That's not a
Mm-hmm.
burden, that's a delight.
Right.
Okay. And it is a coping mechanism. It does feel good to engage in activity where I feel like I'm making a difference. I'm doing it at the high level and I've got all the
Mm-hmm.
resources I need. But yeah, work can then become distressful if
Mm-hmm.
there are challenges being imposed on me where I don't feel like I have the adequate resources. I'm not given enough time to hit the deadlines that I need to hit. I'm not given the resources I need for whatever reason. Now it's going from eustress to distress.
Right.
But when it's eustress, it can be a way to cope. But I think what Sister Tante is warning against is sometimes when we become almost like workaholics
Yes.
and work becomes an escape from dealing
Mm-hmm.
with the issues you need to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got a problem. Now we got a
Mm-hmm.
problem. So I think it can be a good thing, but it can also be used as escape. And you guys know what else is used as escape, right? Addictions.
Right.
Addictions really provide an escape. And that's why it's so important to actually address the issues that need to be addressed rather than being dominated by them.
Right. Yes, and I think since I mean, we just need to do a series, a men's series, and this is number one. This is the first episode because as you're talking, you are in our planning session. We're doing it live, but when you're saying that and you brought up addiction, I think it's important when you're talking about men's mental health. How can we not talk about pornography?
Ooh, ooh. And that's,
So
yeah.
that'll be a part of the whole picture because that can play such a huge
Uh-huh.
part.
Absolutely. And it almost like deserves its own like special focus in terms
Well,
of pornography. Like,
it's
yeah,
definitely going to have its own episode,
yeah, yeah,
if not one or two or three. I mean, because it's such
absolutely.
a huge thing. And, just to be fair, it's not just a male
Man,
problem.
no,
It's not a
no,
male,
no,
it's not just a male problem at
no,
all. Women deal with the addiction as well.
absolutely.
So it looks like we have some more. Let's see, take a few more questions. Does a man's upbringing affect him as far as like expressing his emotions? Because most households, especially in the 70s and 80s, boys couldn't express themselves and were taught to hold it in. Absolutely. And that's what we were talking about with society. Society has trained our men, especially during that time. I mean, now it's getting a little bit better. I think this generation, these last two generations, they're definitely open to um, men expressing themselves more in a healthy way, letting their emotions, actually going into counseling and therapy. There's not such a taboo and a stigma behind that. It's getting better. It still can get much, much better, but it's been exactly how you described it in your question for so many years and so long. And it has definitely affected the men in our society today, for sure, in all cultures. I think it's across the board. I will say it's in all cultures, but I'm just thinking of my dad. And I just remember him not really feeling comfortable. Like he showed me that he loved me and my brother and those type of things. But when it was a hard situation, those were difficult for him. He wasn't, I could, now being as a mental health therapist, I can look back. He definitely, it wasn't like he didn't deal with it or talk to it, but he never really wanted, he didn't, you can tell he really did not enjoy that. And he didn't really know how to communicate or open up. So he would avoid or ignore certain situations because he just didn't
Like,
really hadn't
like,
learned those tools as a young
like he
person.
didn't
But
want to
when
say "I love you" or something, or
oh no, and he definitely said that and showed me. I felt and showed me and my brother and my children. He loved me so much. I was very spoiled. Okay. Let's just put it that way. It was like my mom will tell you, she was just like, you spoiled this girl too much. But so I definitely felt love. So not that. I'm telling like when difficult situations happened, he would try to just not take that deep dive into it to be like, let's unpack this. Let's, he just wanted to be like, all right, let's just move on, because he didn't want to touch those difficult emotions. So, and it wasn't just with me, it was in a lot of situations.
I
A
felt
good
no.
man, but I know that came from his upbringing. Um, yeah. And my
Well,
grandfather, who wasn't emotionally present, he was an alcoholic. So I think that's where it came from.
well, it's profound because I know I'm from the generation of be seen and not heard.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know, be seen and not heard. And so, of course, my parenting was a reaction against that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted my daughter be seen and be heard. Well,
Mm-hmm.
she took it to a little extreme. We're trying to like get back to that generation of don't be quite so heard.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking, of course, but like she's off the chain. Like, no, I'm gonna be heard.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Mm-hmm.
was a reaction against this whole wait, why wouldn't you value that person? Like, why wouldn't you
Right.
communicate? No, you're valued. You're human, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and you can see if your emphasis is on being quiet, then you're not really attuning to what's going on with you. You're more just so focused outward, you might not
Right.
be paying attention to what's going on inside. And then
Mm-hmm.
and then as men, we don't like dealing with things. We don't like asking questions we don't have answers for. We're just like,
Yeah.
"All right, just leave it alone." Like, if I'm gonna ask I need an answer. And so much of
Right.
mental health has to deal with that. Well, these are not clear, concrete, you know,
Hmm.
answers to questions like looking at a circuit breaker or the worlds we often like to operate in. No, this is a bit more amorphous, but the work is still rewarding. It's still
Right.
rewarding.
Also, something like that I see like with when I'm working with couples, is like, the women can just rattle. I mean, we as women, we can just rattle off facts. Our memory is like, we can just say, this happened, this is how I feel. This is, we just can process things so quickly. Like as we're already done processing the situation, like within seconds or, a few seconds, the man's thoughts are just loading and he's just trying to like let me process it. And like we try to, as women, we want to rush their process, get mad when their processing service or server or whatever in their brain is not going as fast as ours. And then that makes them want to shut down even more, so you don't get anything out of them because the wall just went up because they were just traumatized because they couldn't process it, and it was just like they just shut down and they just give up.
Let me just say it concretely. Ladies, it is sometimes easy for you to bully us verbally because you're more conversant,
Yes.
because your command of language at times is a bit more sophisticated. So it doesn't mean you're more sophisticated, but your capacity with language is more sophisticated, and it positions you to bully us verbally. Let me
I
say,
I I just, yeah, you said bully us, but I guess that's sometimes that's the right terminology. I can't defend us ladies because
put
sometimes
a,
we are definitely in that space and category. What I was told, and you're the
put
doctor,
a one
so
in the
tell me.
chat if I'm speaking the truth. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think, that we have the able like communication on both on the left and right hemisphere of the brain. Is that correct, doctor?
Yeah, you go between both
We
hemispheres.
can just be like boom, 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 where you guys don't have it on both
We focus
sides.
we focus more on our I'm pointing my right, but like yeah, we
Yeah.
focus more on our left hemisphere. Like we prefer left hemispherical thinking, which is more concrete, which is more engineering. The right hemisphere is more artistic, it's more big picture.
Right.
And you're seeing women like you see the word for I would say is integrated. Like they love going between both.
Yeah.
Well, there's an attacker, but he's someone's child. Whereas
Yes.
a man, it's like we kind of have an easier time now just zeroing in and saying, I don't care that but he's an attacker.
Right. Right.
But no, you do go between they're different styles of thinking.
Yes. No, right. It makes sense. I know that like I will be so focused on all the little details and just like right in the moment of things. And then my husband is silent. He doesn't say anything. And then when he speaks, it's like he's definitely looking at big picture and, going beyond just the little moment. And I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about that at all. Like, I wasn't even
No, but
you
I gotta give you props for the details. It's like he's like all like deep and whatever, but like your command of just the landscape. Hey, but don't forget about this date, and don't forget, and what about this? And I'm like, that's dope. It's
yeah.
like the marriage is dope. So you got one that like he's down, but like you're like,
He's out of
let me
this
keep you
world. He's in
oriented.
another. Yeah, sometimes I tell him, I was like, you're out here in space and like we're on Earth trying to like, and you're over here anyway. So yeah, I think we complement each other for sure.
Beautifully.
Yeah, for sure. He balances
Beautifully.
me, and I hope by God's grace I balance him as well. This has been, I have to give it to you, Dr. White. This was Dr. White's idea to do men. And we really have so much more to talk about men's mental health. There's so much more, guys, that we can go. And so we're taking this deep dive, and I can see like, and thank you for all there. I see there's a lot more men this evening showing up. I think it's great. I'm definitely going to be pushing to encourage women to show up too for this next set, for these next few weeks because we need to hear this. We need to understand the men that we are either raising or married to or dating, whatever the case may be. We need to understand what men go through so we can be helpful.
You
We
know,
want to
I
help.
I would love to take all the credit for this because it would just feel so good. I gotta shout out Denise Richardson for giving me the idea. Shout out, Denise. I don't know if you're
Yes, I
watching
don't
or
even know if
whatever,
Denise is on this evening. I haven't seen
but
her, but
like, props. She is the one. And so and I just think as men, it can be
I
so
should have known it was a
important.
woman. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's why we don't say anything.
No, I'm just
That's
kidding. You
why
could have
we
just kept. I'm sure Denise wouldn't have minded, but no,
we
that's
could not.
great.
I just gotta give props where it's due because I think as men, that's one of the things that's it's important that we do is, yo,
Yes,
man, if you have a woman supporting you, providing, shout it out.
yes,
So
most
props to this.
definitely,
And
most
thank you, Sister
definitely.
Tante, for
Yes. Well,
discouraging me
I
from
can
doing that.
give you this. You were wise enough to listen to the woman's idea.
I will take that. I will take that.
Yes, you deserve it.
I will
You
take
deserve it
that.
because this is a definitely good topic. I like to see again all the men and the sprinkles of women, but I want more women and more men next week because I think it's an awesome topic that we all need to. It's a critical topic that everyone needs to hear.
Let's go out with
So,
this question. My testosterone levels are high, a couple of different reasons. How can I keep myself in check, but yet also try to be a good person? For example, I curse a lot. My friend,
mm,
the physician that you're really going to want to help you as far as testosterone levels is oftentimes a urologist. So you're definitely going to want that, managed by a urologist. So you'll often sometimes have to get a referral from your primary care doctor to your urologist and have that monitored and managed. But these are important things. These are really, really important things that can help manage it. And then once that medical stuff is clear, then you can then talk to a therapist, a coach, a practitioner to help you find more effective ways of communicating in a way that will get you what you want without having to necessarily rely, for example, on cursing. So, I applaud you for asking that question,
I do too.
and having the courage to say, hey, man, I need help.
That's right.
So over to you,
Absolutely.
sis. Yeah, this
Yes.
was
Well,
epic. And invite the men and women
yes.
who love them.
Yes, please, please, definitely invite them. We will do a part two. This is a series now. It's starting to become a series. We will be here next week, same time, same YouTube channel. So definitely invite them, and then please share this link. Invite them, but share that. Let them know what they missed. They can see it, and then they will be able to build on more next week. So we look forward to seeing all of you here for Mental Health Monday next week. Thank you for being here this evening, and have a good rest of your evening. See you next week.